Very good evening to you. Well, the streets around the Greenpoint Stadium in Cape Town are transforming. And according to organisers of the Cape Town E Prix, people can finally see the Formula E World Championships will indeed stop in the city. On the 25th of February, drivers from around the world and potentially even a South African driver will vie for honours on the South African stop of the Formula E World Championships. I spoke to organiser and promoter of the race, Iain Banner.
I think up to this point, nobody's believed this is happening except me. And now South Africa can see it's for real because we're building the track. Well, let's say the groundwork, the track itself was built over the last year and completed in December, on the 15th to be exact. But now that we're putting up the barriers and the fences and the grandstands and the hospitality units, people are driving by and going, my goodness, this is enormous. The garages are 50% complete. The 11 garages for the McLarens and the Maseratis and the Porsches, the Jaguars, etc. Very exciting.
How has the uptake been with regards to ticket sales?
Well, we have a total of approximately 22,479 seats to sell. Plus, we have a general admission area of 3,500. As of last night, 15,500 of those are done and dusted. South Africa is suddenly waking up to the reality that this is happening. Our ticket sales are really spiking. Don't be disappointed, viewers. It's going to be something like South Africa has really never, ever seen. It's very, very special that we've secured this. And it's for Africa. It's for South Africa. It's to show that we can still do things cutting edge in a spectacular setting, which is another city. And certainly my big motivation is to make South Africa proud and show the world that it's still standing.
I see Calvin van der Linde is a South African driver that's on the roster when it comes to the World Championship standings, but I see he hasn't taken part in any of the races to date. Is he going to be on the starting line in Cape Town?
So Calvin, in fact, drove his first race, 2 races in Diriyah in Saudi Arabia, which was the last event that happened on the calendar. And that was because the principal driver, Robin Freins, injured his wrist in Mexico City and had a 5-hour operation on it. So on a race-by-race basis, including Hyderabad this coming weekend, Calvin is racing. I think there's a very good chance he'll be racing in Cape Town, but we don't yet know, so it's kind of exciting. Imagine if we added South Africa to the lineup. I mean, it is really something to look forward to.
You mentioned the last time we spoke that they're also assuring you of no load shedding during this time. Does that still stand?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we've said from the beginning, we have a power plan with the city of Cape Town that has been brilliantly put together by Michael Schmidt and his colleagues at the city have been amazing. And that is our primary power plan. But we additionally have generator backups. We've got 22 generators in total, many of them, not many, but a couple of 1.2 megawatt generators. And those are the ones that actually with biofuel charge the cars because the demand on the car side is very high. So they need 2 megawatts of instant power. So that in itself is generated through biofuels, which are produced, by the way, in Montague Gardens outside Cape Town, using fat and grease and waste from the hospitality sector in the main, the big chains of fast food outlets, the people who use a lot of oil, of cooking oils, etc., which are a natural product, that gets reprocessed. And a very sophisticated facility sits here in Montague Gardens. And so it's a company called Kulu. I'm very excited about that. And so to answer the exact question is up to stage 6, the city's able to guarantee us with power. Fortunately, we've settled back to stage 4 when I last looked. So I'm cautiously optimistic that things are improving slightly. But we have our backup plans too.
Is Formula E far more accessible for South Africans as hosts and potentially even drivers in the future?
Sure. I think from an economic point of view, this is the second biggest event to happen, certainly in the Cape, and I would suspect maybe in the country since the 2010 World Cup. So don't underestimate the capex required, the opex required. It's a big story, but it's a relatively small percentage of what Formula One will cost. And we have put center the purpose. Why the race? The race is our celebration of sustainability and net zero at the highest level. But our real mission is to push Go Green Africa and to help drive South African business into going green. So we want to be an agent for change in that regard. And all of our events, the ages I spoke of, electric, the EVRT, Formula Student Africa, is about empowering South Africans to go electric, showing what it's about, helping at the universities and the technicons with skill sets for young people to get into the sector. We've got a big motor industry in South Africa. Why don't we make sure that the young people are qualified to take it into the electric era? So that's where Formula Student comes in, which is under Warwick University. They're sending their race team out. So, yes, big stretch to get to Formula One. And Formula E is more accessible as a promoter, but also for the drivers, they actually get well paid to drive if they get a seat. Not easy to get a seat. And I asked Kelvin what he thought of the car. He said it's a monster, 350 kilowatts of power. These guys can't quite, it's a new car. It's Generation 3, faster than a Formula One car from 0 to 200. So the days of thinking, it's a Mickey Mouse thing are over. This is very real. And with people like Stoffel van Doorn, Formula One driver, Giovinazzi last year was driving, he's not this year, and others that have elected to bypass the Formula One route to come into Formula E. This is a young, happening sport in Season 9. In my view, over the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see this absolutely accelerate and take off, and guess what? We'll still be staging it right here in Cape Town.
How realistic is it in a country that's under so much electricity constraint to be pushing electric vehicles?
See, it's a bit of a misnomer. The biggest asset we have in this country perhaps is the sun, and we have a lot of it. So the absolute thing we should be doing is not relying on fossil fuels, but through photovoltaic cells, through solar energy, powering vehicles. That's what it's about. It's about drawing from the sun.
Can you tell us about the track? Can you tell us what you guys have been doing?
Driving down currently Fritz Sonnenberg, you can see left and right our beautiful barrier and fence structure that leads us in on the resurfaced road. I've just been overtaken. And as we travel through here, this is going to be exciting racing. You can overtake, but it's pretty tight. And then you'll see the new surface coming up now. And we do a left-hander as we come around towards the stadium that you're going to see. And then to my right, you'll see some bleachers or stands, as we call them. This is turn 12 on my right-hand side. I'll shoot you out the window. And here you see turn 12, which takes you through to the start and finish line. But if I come back here, we're back on the road now, and now we're effectively heading towards the pit lane. And we're going to show you now, this is where the cars will drive to get to the pits. As we get towards the pit lane, and you're seeing this for the very first, no one else has had this sort of coverage, Valen. Here you start to see the 11 garages in construction, each one of them housing the teams. So these have been underway for some time. We then leave the pits. We're now leaving the pits, and we're driving out, and I'm putting you back on the track. And you can see the grandstands up ahead as we turn hard left onto Granger Bay Boulevard. And then look what's to our left here, the hospitality track side, together with the grandstands that start on my left. And as we zip along in my electric vehicle, next set of grandstands in build right now. Then we come down to the chicane. This is a hard right around the circle and back out to take us down to Beach Road. We get to Beach Road and we turn hard left. That's half that circle gets taken away. This middle monarchy gets taken away. Now we're on Beach Road. This is going to be very, very fast. Although there are bends in the road, people are going to be traveling flat out down this road, which truly is going to, in my view, be one of the great sights. You'll see why in a minute as we get past some of the slow traffic.